Hey everyone, this is Holly Chantal, the founder of the Land of Brand, and you have joined the Land of Brand Laboratory, or as we like to call it, the LOBoratory for short. And we meet every Wednesday at 12 o'clock Eastern, and we talk about different topics in branding, and specifically how to grow your coaching brand as something that is unique, is an expression of your personality, and allows you to share your message with the world. So today we're going to talk about how you can own any niche you choose. I think that coaches are a little too picky when they're trying to decide what niche they should be serving and who their target audience is. It's not that they're too picky and that they go too narrow, it's that they're too picky and that they're not sure how to make a decision. So today I'm going to allay your fears and show you how any choice you make can be the right choice. So let's go ahead and move over to the presentation. And if you have any questions as we go, you can type them in on the right-hand sidebar if you're listening live. All right, so let's go ahead and make this full screen. All right, so 3 ways to own any niche you choose, regardless of your previous results. So the game plan is why many coaches give up on their niche too early, how to stand out from other coaches and become known for what you do, and how to communicate what you do so that people actually get it and people actually hire you. So there are right and wrong reasons to choose a target audience. I already mentioned that I think that we're a little too critical when we're choosing our target audiences. And it's easy to fall into the trap of choosing an audience based on who you think you should be working with. So you might have started your business and you think you should be working with a market that you just came from. So for example, when I started my business, I thought that I needed to be working with direct sales professionals because that was who I was familiar with. You might also think that you should be working with a certain market due to the certain contacts that you might already have. Maybe you already have connections in a certain area and you believe that that should be your target audience. Or due to who you think would be the most lucrative. So you choose a market based on who you think has the most money. But the truth is, you can make any target audience work. If you don't have personal experience, chances are if you're choosing that market, you do have a personal interest, so you can learn about what they want and what they need. You can make contacts, or the contacts you have may also be able to introduce you to people. And who you think might be the most lucrative is not always the case. You don't want to choose markets based on who you think has the most money. You want to choose markets based on who has the most need and how can you develop that need. So no matter what market you choose, it's going to affect how you run your business and how you market yourself, which is why choosing the market is the first step. For example, if you do choose a market that doesn't have a ton of disposable income, you're going to have to create products that are a lower price point. That means you're going to have to sell more of them and you're going to have to market yourself in a different way. On the other hand, if you are selling a high-end program, then you are going to, again, be marketing yourself in a different way and working with less clients. One might sound more appealing than the other, and it's going to vary depending on you and your preferences and what you're really passionate about. If what you love to do is blog, you love blogging, you love writing, you love everything about that, then you can sell a lower price program because all you're going to be doing is marketing. If you're not really into marketing that much and you really just want to sell higher price programs and market very strategically in a few areas, then that works as well. It's all about playing to your strengths and your interests. So it doesn't end with picking a market though. They need to know that you're talking to them. So you need to learn to speak their language. You need to find out where they hang out. And you need to get connected in that industry. So if you're not already in that industry or didn't come from that industry, then you need to start making connections. It's always the first one that will slip you up. It's always speaking their language because it's easy to find where your target audience is hanging out, and finding connections in the industry is something that is easy to do, even though it might be a little personally challenging because we are born with this fear of reaching out to people for some reason. So speaking their language is the tricky part, because you might think that you're saying what they want to hear or that you're describing their problem, but you actually sound like an alien because you're using jargon or because you are talking about results or problems that are not in conversational words. So how do you overcome that? Or so what happens as a result of this first? So what ends up typically happening is you pick a target audience and then you start throwing spaghetti at the wall. You start offering them everything in the world. You try to catch their attention. Nothing seems to happen. You don't get any traction. So maybe you're blogging for a couple months, or you are reaching out to people in the industry, just things are not sticking. So then you start thinking that you chose the wrong market. And then you go back to square one and you start the cycle over again. But the real problem is you're not sticking it out long enough. So either you're not staying with it long enough to actually get traction, because it takes a while for you to start to become recognized in an industry. You can't just, jump onto the scene and expect people to know that you're an expert and already trust you and want to hire you. They need to be getting to know you over time. The other thing might be that the marketing that you're doing does not have a sound strategy behind it. That's also very, very common. Unless you are a marketing expert, sometimes it's tricky to have your marketing be the most effective. So where do you start? Well, first of all, you want to profile your ideal client. But we're going to do it in a little different way than you're probably used to. Typically, when you're profiling an ideal client, or I ask someone who their target audience is, I get a list of demographics. So I get, women age 30 to 90, and they have a 6-figure job, 2 kids. They, have a car, and they live in a city, and you get all these things about the statistics of this person, instead of who this person actually is. So what you want to do is actually describe your client's life to help you get into their mindset. So as you're talking about their kids and their car and their job, you want to talk about what is going on in that part of their life. They have kids that they're not able to spend time with. They wish that they could be going on vacation every week. They wish that they could be doing more of what they love. They have a job, they have a 6-figure a year paying job, but they hate it. They're unfulfilled. They don't get along with their boss. They feel underappreciated, and they just feel like they're constantly spinning their wheels and not making any progress. When you start to describe what's bothering them from their perspective, then you start to speak their language. So if I ask you who you work with, you don't want to say, oh, I work with, women aged 30 to 90 that, are getting paid really well and live in a city. Because I'm just going to look at you with a quizzical look and be like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. And how it's not specific enough for me to think of someone that would fit that description in a way that you could help them. When you instead describe it as, oh, I work with women that have worked their way to the top but can't stand their jobs, then that is so much clearer, because chances are, if that person you're talking to has been in that situation, they're going to immediately relate to that. Oh, I cannot stand my job. I feel like I've worked so hard to move myself up in the world, and I'm just making myself more and more miserable. How do you help with that? So what you want to do is get the language of what's bothering them from their perspective, and then how does that problem influence their life? And what has to happen in order for them to realize that, holy smokes, they need help. When you can pinpoint what that is, that's when you can really own a niche. Because then you have the right language that people recognize right away that you're the ones that serve them. And you can also create very targeted programs that solve that problem. Makes it much more tangible and easy to sell, which is what we talked about last week, was how to make your coaching programs tangible by packaging. And this was one of the first steps you did, which was profiling your client. So this is just one more layer to that lesson. So now that you're speaking their language, you can get their attention. And now you need to decide, what is the thing you want to become known for? What is your niche? So your niche, so let's just define a couple terms here. First of all, your target market is who you're actively trying to attract. So this is who you are marketing to, who you are trying to get into your sales cycle. Your niche is what it is you're going to offer them, what you're doing for them. So this goes back to what I just said on the previous slide, which is you choose a problem that you're going to solve, and you create programs to solve that problem. That becomes your niche. And because we're taking it directly from their mouth on what they said they needed or what they said they were having a problem with, again, it's going to be much more easy to sell. So how do you communicate this? Or why would you communicate it in this way? For one, clarity always trumps cleverness. The more clever you are, the more confused you're going to make people when you tell them what you do. They should be asking you, how do you do that, instead of what do you mean? And if I know who you serve, so if you're really clear about who it is you serve and the problem they have, I'm going to know who to refer to you. I'm going to know that when I run into someone at a networking event that is struggling with this particular issue, oh, you need to go see Sally. She specializes in that and she's amazing. Because you specialize in it, it makes it very easy for someone to think of you when that problem comes up. If who you serve sounds like me, so if you're talking to me about this target market you serve and what you do for them, I'm going to think you're the best thing since Rocky Road ice cream. I'm going to be excited because I have finally found the person that specializes in my problem and understands my needs. So this is all summed up in your who and do what statements. So this is a book yourself solid term. Your who and do what statement is basically who you serve and what you do for them. So I work with high-level professional women that hate their jobs, and I help them reignite their passion for their career. Very clear what that means. So then how do you become known for it? So it's not enough just to choose a target audience and a niche. You need to stand out from everyone else because there's always going to be competition. There's always going to be other coaches that are doing what you're doing. So what is different about you than everyone else? Well, there's a couple things. Obviously, your personality is a big one. And a big piece of your message, though, is also something that's different than everyone else, and that's your why. So why do you do what you do? Usually, typically, coaches have this very deep reason why they do what they do, why they started their business. It's usually something very personal, something that they have experienced, and oftentimes it's something that really resonates with their ideal client because they've experienced something similar. When you're creating that resonance and that emotional connection with someone, it's going to build trust quicker and allow you to create a personal connection that actually results in better work. So this is your passion that you bring to coaching and why you started your business. The other why is why you do things the way you do them. So your methodology is also going to be a piece of what makes you stand out because it's different. It's something that they may not have heard before. And this doesn't mean that your methodology has to be completely outlandish and unlike anything else. But what it does need to be is clear, and it needs to be put out there so that people can understand it. And when someone understands your methodology, they're going to have more trust for you. If your methodology makes sense to them, then they're going to, again, trust you that much more and see you as that much more of an expert. So as a recap, your choice of target market is not the problem. So if you have been doing that stop-start cycle of your marketing because you're not getting traction, it's probably because the language you're using is too jargony or not creating a connection. It's not because you have the wrong market, 9 times out of 10. Clarity always trumps cleverness. The more clear you can be in your messaging, and the more people do not have to ask, what is it that you do, or what do you mean by that, the better. And your who and do what is the key to owning your niche. So the who and do what is the key more so to communicating what you do. So who you serve and what you do for them has to be very clear, has to go back to that language that they use, and that's going to help you not only understand your business, it's also going to help others understand how to refer people to you. And why you do what you do is what will set you apart from the competition and attract your ideal clients, because they're resonating with your reason for the way you do why you do things, as well as your methodology. All right, so next week, I think it's pretty fun that our LOBoratory call is going to be on April Fool's Day. So we are going to talk about 3 secret strategies that will stunt your business growth. So we're going to go counterintuitive to what you normally get, and we're going to talk about how to break your business, which sounds like fun, right? And if you want help creating your awesome brand, or you have any topics that you would like to see on a future LOBoratory call, you can email holly@thelandofbrand.com. As you guys have probably seen, my new website launched yesterday at thelandofbrand.com. And so over the next few weeks, you're going to see a shift in the types of topics we're doing. We are going to be, our messaging is shifting, our programs are shifting. We have done a complete rebrand. And next week, I haven't set the date and time yet, but I will send out an email in the next day or so. I will be doing a webinar about that rebrand. So why we did it, what went into it, whether or not you should be rebranding, like what questions you need to ask yourself, what we learned during the process, all of that fun stuff that we're getting, everyone's asking us questions by email. We're going to do a webinar to cover everything next week. So stay tuned for that email. But in the meantime, if you see something that you'd like on the LOBoratory, shoot me an email. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you next Wednesday. Bye, everyone.